evening, everyone. Welcome to our regularly scheduled April 15th meeting. Please join the town clerk for pledge of meeting, pledge of allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. We have, is that better or the same? Better? Okay. We have privilege of the floor this evening. Saugerties Community and Stop Saugerties Energy Storage. So we'll invite Elizabeth. Start your presentation and we can shut off the lights as well.
Okay, is this the mic we're to use?
Yep.
That's it, like that?
Yeah, I think that's good. That's bad.
All right. Set, go.
Actually, you're on Elizabeth's cue right now.
Good evening, I'm Dia from West Saugerties, and I'm going to launch right in. Please stand if you support this petition signed by 514 people and counting. We, the undersigned residents, call on the town of Saugerties to reject the proposed BESS project on Thompson Road and prohibit large-scale battery storage facilities in our community. They raise serious concerns about fire, explosion risk, environmental water impacts, noise, traffic, property values, community character. Under secret, the town board must take a hard look at impacts. We demand the town board and planning board deny any and all applications for the Thompson's Road BESS or any large-scale BESS facilities. Amend the town code to prohibit BESS projects. And if the town refuses to do this, we ask that you enact a moratorium on all large-scale BESS facilities. Thank you all for being here. We call on you to rebuild community trust. Commitment to secret guidelines. Delaying further planning board reviews until rezoning is complete, then accept an application from the developer. Avoiding segmentation with combined projects on the Thompson's Road site. Evaluating local impacts, including environmental. Resubmission of complete application package, not missing or fillers in there. Transparency. Commit to follow New York open meeting laws with proper notification of public meetings, including materials to be discussed and documentation when requested as legally required. Public records. Sorry, it's hard to read without the light. Approval should follow analysis, not precede it. This isn't only about being for or against BESS. It's about making sure the impacts are fully understood before making further decisions. This is about CDC and BESS Working Committee. The CAC was established by the town board in 1972. Its duties under New York law are provide technical environmental advice, review projects for wetland, habitat, water resources, land disturbance, vegetation removal, ecological impact, and maintain an inventory of natural resources and issue recommendations to the planning board, ZBA, and town board. And the best working group, the opaque best working group, unknown authority, mission statement, unknown, deliverables, unknown, participants, unknown, public meeting, unknown, no meeting minutes or materials that are being reviewed. Request combined consideration to avoid segmentation, request positive determination for state environmental quality review. Request complete transparency as per open meeting laws. Liz.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Reese. I live in Saugerties on Elm Street, where I've lived for over 20 years. And I'm very concerned about this project and the impact on our community and the surrounding other towns. An overview of Thompson's Road project. The battery facility is ultimately owned by the SK Group, which is a foreign-owned South Korean conglomerate, and it's using a single-purpose LLC to limit liability. The solar farm that's also going in adjacent to it is owned by the Mitsubishi Corp, which is also a foreign-owned Japanese conglomerate, and under a single-purpose LLC. And also there's a major substation upgrade that's going to be needed to support this project that I haven't heard anybody talk about. I happen to come across it, which is owned by Fortis, which is also a foreign-owned Canadian conglomerate. Between them, there's a huge combined scale of development that's going to happen up on Thompson's Road, potentially 100 acres with deforestation. The battery facility is going to have, the battery plus solar is initial build of 35 plus acres with over 25 acres of deforestation. Significant local impacts on health and safety, environment, the tourist economy, noise, continuous operation 24/7. 136 battery containers, 10 football fields. Saugerties, an early adopter at this flagship scale. The segmentation issues, which is where related projects are reviewed separately to minimize the realistic combined impact on our community. And there's also this undisclosed major substation upgrade that's going to be needed to facilitate this privately owned battery storage facility, which is going to be 100 megawatts, along with an industrial size solar farm, which is unclear if they're going to use batteries. They were, then they said publicly they wouldn't, and then an official said that they were. There's going to be shared access roads, and on the records, these companies have been asked to coordinate. Zoning classifications required about jointly, and they're within 500 feet of homes in the village boundaries. We are requesting transparency, and that the total impact be evaluated. As per law, we want to avoid segmentation, and we're requesting a positive CEQA determination. And here's an overview of the facilities. You see it's over 100 acres combined. If you add in the Central Hudson location, which will require extensive work, it's larger than that. The Central Hudson substation, which was an upgrade fairly recently, is also going to have to be upgraded too. These projects are not plug and play. They routinely require significant grid upgrades. This matters because the current substation is only 69 kilovolts, which is not transmission level for bulk transmission, requiring significant upgrades, expanded footprints with additional construction, environmental impacts, and deforestation. Customer-wide upgrade costs will be between $1 to $2 billion, so don't imagine any of your bills are going to be going down anytime soon. The substation upgrades will require local transmission upgrades, system-level upgrades, and regional grid upgrades. The final scope would have been determined through NISO Phase 1. However, the battery application is missing any reference to the the need for any of these upgrades, including input from a Phase 1 NISO survey. Typically, these kind of battery facilities are in industrial substation energy corridors and not in semi-rural and near residential and village boundaries. Typically, there are already major transmission nodes, but we don't have one that would support this. Typically, the grid is built from the ground up to enable this. Here it's opportunistic land-driven siting. Typically, this is treated as a major infrastructure, whereas here it's being treated locally as if it's just a standard building a house, no big deal. We have concerns about the application as it was submitted and how it's being handled, expanded timelines, stealth introduction, lack of true community engagement, industry-backed persuasion consultants, insufficient independent analysis, difficulty getting most requested project documentation despite multiple FOIL requests with actually no acknowledgement on most of them. Combined impact of these projects is not being publicly considered. The number of containers is being minimized in the key caption handouts. So people think it's small, but in fact it's 136, the size of 10 football fields, being promoted by a roving band of industry-affiliated consultants with self-interest. The final publicly available documentation for zoning determination enabling the acceptance of this application is missing. It's incorrectly unclassified determination, minimizing likelihood of a positive CEQA determination and full environmental reviews. Zoning changes are being developed in parallel with this specific application. Public hearings for the new zoning should have happened prior to this. It's an incomplete application of 600 pages, 200 pages of which are duplicated to make it look bigger. The remainder is mostly boilerplate. There's conflicting acreage disturbance, missing site-specific emergency response plan, missing stormwater pollution protection plan, no noise modeling, no noise mitigation, aquifer groundwater risks not evaluated, and the need for the substation build-out was not included. We are requesting transparency, that incremental submissions used to lock invested rights stop, and they are trying to get approvals contingent on future submissions. That's like pressure to approve a blank slate, approve first and study later. We're concerned about the location. The 1 mile impact radius from the proposed site includes Cantine Field, Saugerties High School, and surrounding residential neighborhoods, yet no plumes modeling or defined impact zones are provided in the current record. There's going to be forever impacts on human beings and animals, on our land, on our aquifer, on our habitat, on animal habitat. There's going to be massive deforestation and property values, and an impact on our tourist industry, significant local impacts on health and safety, continuous noise operation. CEQA requires consideration of alternatives, including different locations. Battery storage requires grid connections that are not site-specific to a single transformer location, especially if that transformer cannot actually handle it. Proximity is only to reduce the cost to the developer. Battery storage response times occur in milliseconds, and the difference in electrical travel time over typical siting distance is negligible. We are requesting transparency, what alternatives are being considered. We're requesting a combined consideration to avoid segmentation and a positive CEQA determination. Here's the location. You can see, I'm afraid it's a little bit small, but you can see that all this brown area is soil that's, I'm sorry, I can't actually see it. I'll come back to this one another time, but you can see the massive size of this. This is over 100 acres. There's aquifer, there's wetlands, there's actually swamplands as well. Okay, Tanya.
So I'm not going to go and read point by point, but a lot of the safety concerns have been outlined on this slide, and we can make the materials available for whoever afterwards.
Talk louder.
Sorry, I'm trying to talk and hold this closer. But some of the safety concerns involve the fact that this is an emerging market that's unregulated, and best practices as outlined by NYSERDA is to have localities create regulations under which they have oversight. International Fire Code says that these things don't need fire suppression installed if they are in remote areas, and so by maybe like the density of New York City, this might be considered a remote area. but by the density of the county, that it is within a close radius to one of our more denser areas, means that it's remote by whose standards. International Fire Code would say that the regulating authority, which would be the local authority here based on state policy, would be tasked with enforcing that and making sure that that was done correctly. The way these things are designed is to minimize liability to the developers. The developers use a multi-layered structure that shields them from the impacts if these things aren't operational as stated, or if they cut corners. The beneficial owner, majority shareholder of Key Capture Energy, has already had OSHA violations in the United States, $31 million lawsuit in Atlanta for improper battery disposal. They also were, one of their subsidiaries was responsible for taking out systems in South Korea that affected most major internet systems, as well as data center issues. We will be vulnerable to cyber attacks with this in the area. When the internet goes out, which it does sometimes, how do these stay connected? These require remote engagement in order to be monitored and to know if there's flaws. If the internet is down, how do we know something's wrong? There are alternatives to these type of batteries, which have been outlined in that first slide. There are, in the second slide, there's ion air batteries, sodium ion batteries, there's geothermal, they have hydro cells now that they've created where they use a motor to push water up to the cell, and then the water comes down, kind of recreating hydropower within a cell. Those are completely non-toxic because that's water. But they're not looking at the different technologies because these technologies are now market cheap. The reason these are rolling out as quickly as they are and as fast as they are is that the price to produce them has come down significantly, combined with carbon credits and other financial incentives, puts very little financial liability on the developer, either to do things correctly or expensively. So we have different sites, like undisturbed industrial sites. We could do an inter-county partnership. They do it for mental health services. The Mental Health Association of Columbia and Greene County is an inter-county partnership designed to provide services to the area. If we have additional counties in the locale that have space for these things to be situated more safely away from more density, why not create more inter-county packs to address some of the issues that we've outlined with it being so close to everyone? Okay, and there was a statement that was given to us by Yves McCall, and he's a toxicologist and water specialist. He's a Saugerties resident and environmental scientist. He's requesting combined consideration to avoid segmentation, requesting positive determination for state environmental quality reviews, and he's given us information on Superfund Acts. Renewable sources of energy are not a bad idea. This isn't against renewable energy, it's just not this technology at this location. We are requesting transparency, fire department and town board meetings with privilege of the floor, requesting combined consideration to avoid segmentation, requesting positive determination for state environment and quality reviews. So then we also have environmental concerns. There's a direct impact on the population should things go wrong. In theory, these batteries operate quite well under best practices and ideal scenarios, under which real-world application very rarely meets the criteria for the stated safety levels. We're eliminating a functioning carbon sink, which will release stored carbon, increase pollution from the adjacent roads and throughways with the deforestation proposed. There's not noise buffering included in the application. What the noise is for these things is subjective. When you hear a decibel reading, you need to also know from what distance. So someone can say 100 decibels or someone can say 70 decibels, but if they don't tell you the distance, it's a meaningless number. Forever impact humans, land, aquifer, continuous habitats, including endangered species and migratory birds. When these things go offline, like they leave them there, or they sell them to secondary companies that operate them at like 30 to 45% because the batteries are no longer safe to be charged to 100%. That's what happened in Warwick, and because these things get passed around from developer to developer, nobody is there to take accountability when something goes wrong. This does not necessarily demonstrate that the climate goals stated will be met with this project. It's a 4-hour charge. And we are increasing both density and data centers within the state.
I have a big concern. My name is Eileen. I live across from Cantine on Washington Avenue. Big concern is noise. Massive deforestation removes natural buffers, nighttime inversion conditions, projections based on what was included, elevated location and low frequency, which travels further. 70 decibels at fence line, 50 at the nearest house, 40 well within the village. Constant humming 24/7, and it's loudest at night. It's not masked by the thruway and the rush hours. Town of Saugerties has no noise ordinance, no plans to install beams, berms, no acoustic modeling. Battery storage site becomes noisier with age. More heat and forcing cooling fans and HVAC systems to work harder. Mechanical cooling components sometimes reach 92 decibels near the equipment. Types of noise, you have operational, that's from inverters and cooling systems, and it emits a high-pitched electrical buzz. Mechanical noise, that's your compressor, pumps, fans. They lead to mechanical vibration and noise that can reach uncomfortable decibels for nearby residents. The most significant noise, these run to prevent battery overheating. They produce a constant, frequent whir or hum. Requesting transparency. Are sound mitigation measures and commitments being discussed? Requesting combined consideration to avoid segmentation. Requesting positive determination for state environmental quality review, CEQA. We're concerned about our volunteer firemen. There's incorrect information that's being disseminated. This will simply take more than 4 hours of watching in case. Training for the Cedar Grove Fire Department is not enough. All mutual aid fire departments must be trained and provided with equipment.
Microphone.
Key capture.
Liz, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
We're
this is
well
the
past the
last
time
one.
we agreed
Yeah.
upon, so.
This is the last one, thanks, Fred.
Okay. Key capture is not the first responders. That responsibility falls on our local fire department and emergency equipment. Lithium-ion batteries, other fire departments don't support battery facilities in their communities. Lithium-ion battery behavior, thermal runaway toxic gas release, responder safety, most important. BESS fires are not comparable to conventional structure fires. And requesting transparency, fire department at town board meeting with privilege of the floor, requesting combined consideration to avoid segmentation, requesting positive determination for state environmental quality review, CEQA.
Thank you, Fred.
Okay. All right, thank you. Does anyone have a question? Anybody on the board have a comment or a question, please share?
Just so you know, anybody who has questions, we're going to be doing another community meeting at the library. If anybody wants to bring thoughtful questions, then, contact us, and we would love to sit down and talk to people.
Okay. All right, thank you. We're going to move on. Public comment. We can turn the lights back on. Chris, do you mind? Thank you. Eric Delmar. Chris, can you get these two?
Hi, my name is Eric Delmar. I live on Lafayette Street. There's huge opposition to BESS installations across the state. Let's talk about that for Saugerties. You guys can't hear me? No. Restart the clock, please. Is this power switch?
think the volume needs to
You're not directly in.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, testing, testing.
You have to be very close.
You just can't.
The end of the
Dead. Now it's on. No. Still dead.
Is this working? No? The light's on.
There we go.
Now.
Restart the clock, Fred, please.
Yes.
Yeah. My name is Eric Delmar. I live on Lafayette Street. There's huge opposition to best installations across the state. Let's talk about that, especially for Saugerties. A best installation is more than just batteries. Each giant battery container has systems to keep the batteries stable. If all those systems work correctly, there's less chance of a battery fire. Fires are uncommon, but they're also uncommonly horrible. An uncontrollable fire could erupt, belching toxic gases in whatever direction the wind blows. We're advised to just let it burn out, but that could take weeks. Our fire department would have to stand by 24/7, making sure other batteries get cooled down so they don't get burst into flames. Saugerties will not benefit from this proposed battery farm. Owners of data centers are the target customers. Data centers are able to pay top dollar to keep their systems running. So that best flyer handout that we got at the promotional brainwashing we had recently, that was best flyer handouts that stated best units keep the lights on during a storm, while sounding cozy and nice is false. Saugerties won't benefit. We're not the customer. And their claim of millions of dollars in tax revenue, nope, they went around and now they're applying to not pay any property tax, and they're seeking the payment in lieu of taxes. They want us to accept token payments towards social programs, so again, deceit, and Saugerties would get no offset to our ballooning property taxes. The master plan is to install 136 battery units, each the size of a 40-foot shipping container, up on the hill. So that's 13 acres of giant electric boxes, all alive with electric hum from charging or discharging, along with the sound of noisy relays and compressors and fans to keep the batteries stable. And remember, that noise that we have to tolerate 24/7 is for the benefit of some faraway data center. About that hill that this is going to go on. It's the tallest spot in the village, 6 stories higher than the average village elevation. Best plants are noisiest at night, and they get noisier every year, getting louder as the systems age and lose efficiency. You like opening your window on a summer evening and only hearing crickets? That may become a sweet memory. Up on the hill, at that elevation, the noise will be everywhere. Even if there was a 5% chance of problems, why take the chance? There's no benefit here, especially for a toxic, complex, volatile asset owned by a third party. So I ask, why are we even entertaining this proposal? Board members, we know that you're here to serve the public good. These best systems are intrusive and quite possibly dangerous. We have nothing to gain and so much to lose. Thank you.
Ted Maroney.
Hey everyone, my name is Ted. I live in the village on Market Street. I work for a renewable energy company that operates about 100 solar sites across New England and New York. We also have about 10 battery sites in our portfolio. As a renewable energy worker and village resident, I support efforts to add battery storage to the grid to reduce pollution and modernize American energy. I attended the recent Stop Saugerties battery storage meeting at the library on March 25th and heard many of my neighbors' concerns that have been voiced here again tonight. I believe some of these concerns are very valid and should be addressed, but others are unfounded. I hope my input tonight can help. Utility-scale batteries provide dispatchable power that can be discharged when needed to stabilize the grid in times of high demand, as opposed to intermittent power from resources such as solar and wind, or baseload power such as nuclear and hydro, which are always on. The majority of dispatchable energy on the grid currently comes from oil and natural gas-fired peaker plants, which ramp up production as needed. Per the nonprofit energy policy group PSE's 2024 analysis, 3/4 of New York State's peaker plants are over 30 years old, and their operation produces significant pollution. Batteries produce no pollution during operation. Furthermore, batteries can charge during times of high generation and low demand, allowing us to avoid energy waste. For example, on a mild spring day, most buildings need neither heating nor cooling, which is a major source of energy usage, so there'll be less demand on the grid that day. However, baseload energy generators, such as nuclear and hydro, running 24/7, constantly produce energy even when there isn't enough demand on the grid to make use of that energy. Batteries solve this problem by capturing excess energy to use later when needed. This is a traditional market economy, supply and demand. They buy when it's cheap, they sell when it's high. But this is going to happen whether it's battery or it's natural gas-fired plants. This is the market economy that we're operating under here. As for this particular battery system proposed by Key Capture Energy, I've been unable to access the proposal in full, so my analysis is based on secondary sources and what I've heard from my neighbors. It would be great for the town to upload a copy of the full proposal to their website for public review, which it seems like transparency is a key thing here. For now, from what I can tell, there are 3 deficiencies in the proposal. It does not specify an emergency response plan, it sidesteps a full secret Type 1 review, and the direct compensation to our community is unclear. My company has an emergency response plan we share with the local fire department at each of our battery projects. The plan lists contact info for everyone, explains what to do in certain situations, and whom to call in an event such as a fire. To be clear, we have never had a fire at any of our battery systems. Nonetheless, it is imperative that an emergency response plan in place. It is negligent to proceed with Key Capture's proposal without it. As for the environmental impacts, as I said, a full secret Type 1 review should be conducted, and it would be negligent to proceed without it. And additionally, the noise concerns and the stormwater reviews, that should be looped in there as well, because the noise, like you said, it matters very much on proximity, and having a decibel reading, it must be done at certain times of day and at certain distances. And there are companies that, this is their whole thing, all they do is noise analyses. It's a very industry standard practice. I've heard differing reports about the payments Key Capture will make, whether it's direct contribution, property tax payments, pilot setups, donations to area nonprofits, and I think it's negligent for us to proceed if we don't completely understand the explicit amount they would be paying us and any financial penalties if those payments are not fulfilled. I believe we should add batteries to the grid for the long-term health and well-being of our planet, and that includes our local grid here in Saugerties. Once Key Capture has submitted a comprehensive emergency response plan, committed to a full secret review, and contractually confirmed its financial contributions to our community, this project will have my full support. For now, there's still work to be done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Terry.
Members of the board, Janelle and I signed up to read into the minutes some of the Paul Rubens statements on water and Winston Farm, and we would both like to wait until the end. Can we be moved down on the schedule, please?
I always go in the order that people sign up.
Well,
You can do it now.
okay, I will. I'm sorry to be interrupting.
It's okay.
I will say that with respect to the BEST project, that the two sides seem to be talking past each other. And I think that the objections raised by the opponents really do need to be addressed. But that's what the last speaker said also. Okay, so on behalf of beautiful Saugerties, I wish to reiterate 2 points made previously by hydrologist Paul Rubin during his recent privilege of the floor presentation, as well as in public comment periods. The first point concerning the threat of inevitable periods of drought and the devastating effect they would have depending on severity on the bank of an aquifer is thus far undisputed. Mr. Rubin provided copious documentation that droughts have historically occurred and will occur again. This information, unavailable at the time of the secret public comment period last summer, must give the town board serious pause in its deliberations of how much water should be made available for any development on Winston Farm. The second point, that the doctrine of reasonable use would allot 26 gallons per minute of water from the aquifer to Winston Farm use, is calculated based on the number of its 843 acres to the total number of acres the aquifer can supply water to, and the amount of water that can be pumped from the aquifer. This must also be taken into consideration when access to water is clarified in a PDD for Winston Farm. No other figure based on hydrologic or legal principles has been proposed to date. Neither of these points can be ignored without compromising the obligation to due diligence on the part of the town board. And I will be sending this to Ms. Stanley for inclusion in the minutes of this meeting. Thank you.
Janelle Lambert.
Good evening. Yes, I'm also going to be speaking about a few points about Winston Farm, and I apologize to the best actors.
Mike, Janelle.
Okay, can you hear me? I think so. According to hydrologist Paul Rubin and other members of our community, the owners of Winston Farm have not provided any detailed breakdown of actual planned development components or the quantity of groundwater required for each use. This singular crucial aspect should give our town pause, because how can the town possibly make any reasonable assessment given that the owners have made not one single plan? The owners are instead looking to get blanket approval for many unspecified development components through a zoning change. These, quote, uses are compiled in Appendix P of the DEGIS, containing a highly objectionable laundry list of sundry fanciful possible uses. The reasonable use doctrine of New York clearly states that groundwater does not belong to owners of real property, but is a natural resource entrusted to the state by and for its citizens. The north-south trending Haverkill-Bakoven aquifer covers a little over 7,000 acres and is entirely designated as an aquifer protection overlay district. And as it is, establishes the town's water rights, protects ecosystem health, protects the town against drought, and can help to lead the town's careful decisions for future growth. The 840 acres of Winston Farm is in the middle of the overlay district. The Winston Farm owners have not proposed a master plan for their planned development district and do not support or comply with the town of Saugerties Aquifer Protection Overlay District. So with this in mind, are we to simply guess what they might do? It stands to reason alone that the owners must be forced to produce exacting project details along with scientific justification for individual project component water demands. The town of Saugerties is obligated to uphold the reasonable use doctrine for the aquifer's overlay protection. It is unethical and illegal to permanently dedicate the bulk of the available aquifer groundwater supply to a single owner, or in this case 3 owners, to support their development schemes and personal profit. Groundwater rights are a serious issue for Winston Farm. How our town handles potential negative impacts on the aquifer is key. Our ecosystem degradation from ecosystem degradation to sustainability, to drought emergency, to contamination risks, all must be of the highest priority. Thank you.
Andrea.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've been asked to read a letter from an environmentalist who is active in Warwick, New York. Dear members of the town board, my name is Pramila Mallet, and I am the chair of Protect Orange County. I am writing to strongly urge the town of Saugerties to reject the proposed battery energy storage system. Battery storage is represented as a green and clean energy alternative to fossil fuels. Orange County has been under siege by gas infrastructure to power the New York City grid, so no community has a greater stake in transitioning to green energy than ours. However, we have learned that battery storage is not clean or green, but rather merely storing more fossil fuel power, while inherently toxic and volatile, and industrializing rural communities. It is not a climate solution, but a climate deception. We have already seen firsthand what these facilities can do. In the town of Warwick, our community witnessed a battery fire burn for days. It required prolonged emergency response, raised serious concern about air quality, and demonstrated just how difficult these fires are to contain and fully extinguish. These are not isolated or hypothetical risks. They are real, documented events happening in communities like ours. I was present near the Warwick site 2 weeks after the fire, and after being there for less than an hour, I experienced a metallic taste in my mouth. I had to immediately go home and rinse my mouth. There were reports that workers at the site also became ill. When battery systems burn, they can release highly toxic substances, including hydrogen fluoride, carbon monoxide, and fine particulate matter. These emissions pose immediate and long-term risks to residents, first responders, and the environment. Yet despite these known hazards, New York State does not currently have adequate enforceable regulations to place in to fully protect communities or the environment from these emissions or their aftermath. These systems are inherently volatile. Even so-called safer battery chemistries can experience thermal runaway, prolonged burning, and reignition. At the same time, local fire departments are often not equipped with the specialized training, resources, or protective equipment needed to safely respond to these incidents. This proposal would effectively industrialize a rural community and impose disproportionate risk on local residents. The burden of potential fire, toxic exposure, and environmental contamination falls squarely on the host community without meaningful consent and without sufficient safeguards. Saugerties should not be asked to accept these risks. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Pat Sheehan. First I want to thank Councilman Iavino. He spoke with my son tonight. My son is doing his requirement for first class on citizenship. So what a perfect way to address citizenship and be here, talk to our elected officials, and be here for a presentation like this. So this is very great. I thank you, and I thank the board, and the presentation was excellent. So I'm Pat Sheehan. I'm running for New York State Senate. I live just south of Saugerties in Ruby. I've been on the record about this since the jump. We bear, as local residents, all of the costs and really none of the benefits. The costs of the property value deflation, the fire risks, the toxic fumes. The benefits go to data centers, AI, New York City. New York, after the CLCPA, has really funded this through taxpayer dollars. They're looking to take away local control, we know that. NYSERDA is looking to take away your control. The room here speaks to people's interest in this. And yeah, what do you know? Our elected leaders in Albany don't want our local people to have a say. They want a siting department in NYSERDA, an anonymous door up in the Capitol to thumbs up or thumbs down these projects. This technology, these batteries are already old, okay? I worked for the state. We got new computers. They were like operating in DOS. This is stuff that really does impact people. Battery technology will get there. We're not there yet. A former speaker said, these are uncommonly horrible, and I wrote that down, and they are. You know, and our elected officials, Sarah Hannah-Shrestha, Michelle Hinchy, Kathy Hochul, Jen Metzger, who signed on the CLCPA, basically says trust the science. Well, I haven't trusted the science since Mr. Fauci stood up and said that the first time. Batteries are pollution, they are unrecyclable, and two things I want to point out. If you recall, Millens wanted to site a recycling plant on 32 just south of Ulster County Resource Recovery. The people across the river made all the decisions about that project in Ulster County because they had the money and it was going to impact their viewshed. Well, they can't see it from Woodstock, they can't see it from Rhinebeck, so we're stuck with it, just like the people in the town of Ulster. And that is disgraceful. My final point on this is these projects, TerraGen and Key Capture, abut the New York State Thruway, in this case the New York State Thruway and CSX train line. The New York State Thruway is an Eisenhower designated national defense highway. It cannot be shut down.
Shooting 2 minutes, so find a good spot to stop.
That's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Marta Saba?
Oh, no, I'm not going to speak.
Okay, fair
I don't know
enough.
what my
Thank you
name
for
is.
coming. Lisa Flanagan?
Hi, my name is Lisa Flanagan, and I'm a resident on John Schultz Road. This is a quote, according to the U.S. National Renewable Energy Laboratory, the optimal temperature range for lithium-ion for batteries like these is between 59 degrees Fahrenheit and 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Research shows that an ambient temperature of about 68 degrees is ideal. If a battery operates at 86 degrees Fahrenheit, its lifetime is reduced by 20%. At 104 degrees, the losses in lifetime approach 40%. This is all to say that we know and has been emphasized that thermal management is critical to these. Today's high was 86 degrees and it is mid-April. We all know over the past few years that heat waves and deep freezes have been increasingly a part of our lives, and we all see it reflected in our energy bills, which, as we know, this will do nothing for. But also we've seen abrupt swings in temperature in a 24-hour period. At best, a BESS battery system has a lifespan of maybe 12 years. And that goes down by 20% and then by 40%, which means that we have very large disposable batteries, 100 acres of which we are planning to build in the backyards of the village of Saugerties. They aren't proposing to build these with actual warehouses. They could. They could propose entire buildings with HVAC, which with proper fire suppression systems, but they won't because no one's making them do it. There are no regulations to this effect. These developers are very aggressively trying to get these built before the state starts regulating it. And yeah, NYSERDA can be both a pain and a gain and requires so much transparency, and I really want to defend them, but he's not entirely wrong. And the containers they are proposing to put these in are simply steel shipping containers, painted a very nice white, maybe green. It'll blend in more, I don't know. But we've all seen footage of how just a single bicycle battery can take down an apartment building, can take down a house. The risk that everyone is saying is fine is ridiculous. Additionally, entertaining the BESS project and the Winston Farms project simultaneously is an insane, I don't understand how those coexist in terms of looking at water, looking at building, looking at zoning, which apparently is a real flexible term around here. Whether someone is from here or not, there is a pattern of disregard and a lack of transparency that I think eventually someone is going to be found liable for. And I think the people who are going to suffer for it are Saugerties.
Stephen Schaefer, 8 Minder Street. I'm speaking as a private citizen, though I am a member of the Conservation Advisory Commission. Rising demands for electricity make it ever harder to meet the needs of peak hours. For a scarce commodity, utilities have to pay sky-high spot prices passed to customers. The uptrending price of natural gas also raises bills for electricity, even in months that don't see yearly maximal loads. A sensible approach to threaten brownouts and the reality of higher electric bills is to build supply by adding generating capacity of wind and utility-scale solar. These are much cheaper to build than baseloaded plants, and the fuel for their operations is literally free. Ideal solution? No, but a good one. 2 problems. Wind and solar are variable energy resources, They can't be counted on to meet an upcoming rise in demand. Neither can be easily dialed to dispatch more electricity over the next hour or to ramp down on a day with lots of sun or wind. Thus, neither is useful in itself for keeping the second-to-second balance of supply and demand that the grid requires for smooth operation. If we want future electricity without price spikes, the specter of brownouts or worse, and steadily rising costs of thermal generation, utility-scale battery energy storage systems help solve both the drawbacks of wind and solar mentioned above. BESS can store electricity generated when the total capability of base load plants plus variable energy resources to supply the grid for a certain time span exceeds the end user demand over that interval. BESS shift energy availability from one part of the day to another, for example, from midday to the evening ramp up in load. BESS can thus on a daily basis tamp down diurnal rises in hourly net load. A set of fully charged BESS facilities can also take the place of air-polluting peaker plants that run just a few days per year. A full BESS can discharge electricity instantly to stabilize the grid in case of a sudden increase in demand or dip in supply. If low, it can instantly start charging to buffer a surge in kilowatt hours. Without BESS, it will be impossible for New York State to realize the advantages of a grid in which wind and utility-scale solar have a major role. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janet Greenberg, and I'm a property owner residing within the designated BESS evacuation and sheltering place radius.
Microphone.
Saugerties Manor Road. So the following is information that I've not been provided or have not been given easy access to in order to make an informed decision on whether or not to support this BESS initiative. Whether living within a BESS evacuation zone is or will be a required disclosure on real estate transactions for both property sales and rental agreements, and who bears the responsibility for ensuring that disclosure is made to affected residents and prospective buyers or tenants. Whether our local volunteer fire department has been fully briefed on the updated risk and expanded responsibilities that would come with operating in proximity to a BESS facility, and whether they have formally agreed to accept those responsibilities. Whether there's any data on firefighter attrition, volunteer or otherwise, in communities that have established BESS evacuation areas, and what the projected impact would be on our already strained volunteer department. Any independent analysis or commissioned reports on the trajectory of residential property values in BESS evacuation areas in comparable communities. Any reports or analysis on the effect of BESS proximity on commercial storefronts, retail vacancy rates, and local business activity in BESS evacuation areas. Any reports or analysis on the domino effect on town centers and village economies within or adjacent to a BESS evacuation radius, including impacts on local businesses, tourism, community investment, and quality of life. Any analysis on the potential decrease in property tax and school tax revenue driven by rapid below-market home sales in or adjacent to BESS evacuation radius, and what the projected impact would be on school district funding and municipal services. These points have been raised previously and remain unresolved. No decommissioning plan or financial bond from the developer has been made public. Whether affected property owners in the evacuation radius receive formal notice in a timely fashion prior to these pending approvals, and no documentation of alternative sites considered and why residential proximity was chosen. If this information should be legally available and made readily available to all citizens that this directly impacts. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Sam Diedrich.
Hi, Samantha Diedrich, Kings Highway in Saugerties. I'm speaking here as a resident of Saugerties who uses electricity. I think that everyone in this room expects to have it. They expect to go home, turn on the lights, do their wash, take a hot shower. And yes, we have a problem, and yes, we're using more electricity. I think New York is using more power on a daily basis. Some of it goes to data centers, some of it goes to growing population, some of it just goes to having more and more devices. How many is enough? None. Could never say. When I first heard BESS, I was skeptical, but I've studied many, many aspects of the project, and it's my belief that we need batteries to store the solar, wind, and the water power that we're making in the state of New York. Nobody can say energy out of these batteries is going to a data center. The energy in New York State is one pool. We all use it. Nobody knows where it's going. But anybody who turns on their electricity is using the grid power. ISOs discuss the Central East constraint, which slows down power south of Schenectady, which means us in the Hudson Valley and beyond in the south. When we have severe weather and needs for doubling our power and it can't come down, that leaves us out. That leaves us with brownouts. We have to store the sustainable energy that we have to avoid fossil fuel generators from being brought online during times of high use. We all use electricity to charge the batteries that we use in our devices. Batteries are batteries. They're not big, monster, horrible things. If they were, we wouldn't have cars with them. We wouldn't have phones that we sleep with, we carry in our pockets. I believe the safety issues have been met, and the technology is being constantly updated. Batteries are, for now, the best and most economical way to provide the least expensive power to the most amount of consumers. There is a direct impact on the population if the grid goes down. Thank you.
Did you ever heard of mac and cheese guys? Cheese guys.
Hi, my name is Bob Dietrich, Kings Highway. I'd have to say that I echo the sentiments of Dr. Schaefer and my wife Samantha behind me. I can't really say too much more about it. I think it's good to be proactive and go forward and not be reactionary and go back. We need to say yes to BESS. And I think the people that own Winston Farm, they bought it, they own it, they should be able to do what they want with it. Have a good day.
Susan Weeks.
Hello. I live on Stoll Road. My name is Susan Weeks. I'm speaking as a citizen of Saugerties and the world. I try to be a good citizen. I try to keep up to date with what's going on in the world. It's very difficult and sometimes extremely depressing. And I've been following climate change since James Hansen, former NASA scientist and a leading climate voice in climate change since 1988, has been speaking out about it. He did speak out about it. Now I follow Bill McGibbon. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he is one of our climate experts, and his main issue is climate change and this and what's going on. To me, it's an existential issue.
Sorry to interrupt. Pull the microphone down.
Oh, okay. To me, it's an existential issue. It's an overriding existential issue that if we don't pay attention to, our head is in the sands. Okay. Bill McKibben says, we have one tool to keep CO2 out of the atmosphere: the substitution of clean energy for fossil fuels. Our weapons in this fight are solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries. We need to crash them into place before these systems of accelerating climate change, which is accelerating really fast now given given the climate denial people we have in government now. Before the accelerating climate change crashes down upon us, that is our job now. And that's Bill McKibben. Paul Krugman is someone I also follow. He is a Nobel Prize winning economist. Paul Krugman says, we aren't just burning fossil fuels, we are burning our future. And I care about the future. I care about the future of our children, our grandchildren. I care about the planet deeply. Paul Krugman also says, let me take an optimism break and talk about why batteries may save the world. The decline in battery prices has been incredible. It's like nothing anyone has ever seen before. Why does this matter? Remember, this is an economist speaking. Cheap battery storage greatly mitigates the problem of intermittency, which we have with wind and solar. Battery performance and safety has soared as prices have plunged. We can expect continuing rapid improvement in renewable energy to mitigate the remaining risks and improve efficiency. In other words, I think that it's an urgent matter that we accept BESS as one of the tools we have in our toolbox to mitigate climate change. And thank you, Stephen, for your exposition on that. That was part of my reasoning too.
Others. Gentleman over there.
And I do believe that we need to mitigate the risks, whatever risks might be. We need to have. We have to acknowledge, we have to have understanding, we have to mitigate any sound risks, we have to mitigate any risks that might occur, but I believe that the safety issues have been addressed in the new generations of batteries, period.
Thank you, Susan. That exhausts the list of speakers who signed up. Is there anyone who did not have a chance to sign up who would like to address the board? Okay. Move on to supervisor's comments. Green and Clean is still happening. You have time this week to visit the town clerk's office, sign up and collect bags. You and your neighbors can go out, clean the side of the road or an area that has been littered over the winter. And our transfer station employees will come out and pick it up on Monday and Tuesday. So it's a great opportunity to help before the grass gets thick. So that opportunity exists in the next couple of days. Please take advantage of it. I want to compliment the community. We've had a pretty overwhelming interest this year. Great. A lot of folks signed up. Yeah. So a lot of folks have signed up already. You might see the green bags on the side of the road, red bags on the side of the road. Thank you. And it's an opportunity for you to participate as well. All right. As for approval of minutes, pre-board meeting of 4/1/26, town board meeting of 4/1/26.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Arvino. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. As for approval of bills. General fund, $135,259.90. General outside village, $7,502.44. Highway, $35,937.85. Capital projects, $10,577. Lighting district, $139,734.42. Sewer operation and maintenance, $139,225.08. Water operation and maintenance, $1.07. Central Hudson, $37,134.92. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Story. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to department head reports. Chief Swart.
I sent a monthly to Lisa before the meeting, so I have those stats there for the department. We just finished up a multi-jurisdictional rifle course. breath analysis course. We have an officer this week during the final active construction. We were able to participate in Groups for Inclusion. Last Friday was a really good event with Ulster Tigers, Special Olympics basketball team that played against them. It was a nice community event. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Hansel?
Over the last 2 weeks, we've been changing the touchpad readers in the Mountain Water District to the Flex Read to make it easier to read for us. We can read from the vehicle rather than going house to house, calling it in our We're working on doing that. We're going to continue painting hydrants in the Gloucester Water District and then continue on to Malden and then keep highways.
Nice job to you and your staff on the brush clearing too.
Thank you.
Mr. Milne?
Good evening. All the plows have been taken off the trucks. They've been washed. The trucks have been thoroughly washed, the tops of the trucks. They have went through washers to wash the bottom of the trucks. So we're hoping we're pretty much past the winter and we don't get any more bad weather. Monday we started Plateau Mountain Road. That road will still be closed down for probably another 4 weeks. I've been in contact daily with the Hunter superintendent. They have some bad washouts on the road that they are addressing. Their washouts are more entailed than what we're doing. We're milling the road, we're reclaiming the road, and then we're going to repave it from the bottom of the hill to the town line. And also we have 3 sweepers out for cleanup on yards and roads and stuff. So most of all the yard repairs have been done. We've had 4 crews out on that for the last 3-4 weeks. Most of that is done. Now we also have the sweepers out. Hopefully in another week or 2 we'll have all the roads done, swept for the first time, and then we'll go back around and the roads that had extra heavy stuff on, we'll do it. If anybody had any roads that wasn't done or any yards that they feel wasn't addressed properly, please feel free to call the office, and myself or my assistant will come out and look at it, and I'm sure we will address it.
Thank you. Did miss any department heads today? All right, we'll move on to board and committee reports. Mr. Barr?
Yes, April 17th, as I said earlier, the library is having a Celebrate Library Day. That's coming up, I guess that's in 2 days. It's at the library at 6 p.m. There will be a presentation by Gus Peterson giving us the history of the Saugerties Library. It goes back quite a bit farther than I thought, early 1800s actually. Anyway, it promised to be a really good historical lecture, and there'll be the executive director from the Hudson Valley Library Association there.
Yeah, Hudson Library System.
Thank you, Tim. Hudson Library System. I want to say a few words now about the Conservation Advisory Committee. Part of the Climate Smart Task Force is the Repair Cafe. The Repair Cafe was held in March 7th. But I just want to say, what the great thing that they served 80 guests. They repaired a stunning 121 items. Over 26 items, thanks to the donations from the community, they were able to provide lunch for the people repairing items and to buy kits for them to help them in doing that. They repaired things such as lamp parts, sewing and mending supplies, jewelry. Well, these are the kits, jewelry repair kits, glues of various kinds. They repaired everything from, they did knife, scissors, sharpening, leather stitching, doll restitching, gluing, zippers, a wide variety of things. It was a big success. They should be having another one sometime in June. I urge you to watch the calendar for that. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. Mrs. Thornton?
Okay, the
Last week, the TV23 committee met. We have a number of applicants for the position of the new program director. All of the committee members received the resumes for those applications and are going to be ranking them. And then we will be conducting interviews within the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and hopefully have a new program director for TV23. So things are moving along. And a special thanks again tonight to one of our committee members, Mr. Lopez, who is filming, volunteered to do this, and because Jorge is here, these meetings are available now on the town website, and if people who are not online, if they're not here in person, you can access them through your computer. Last night, the Saugerties Transportation Advisory Committee met. That is a committee that's made up of both village, like TV23, both village and town representatives. One of the items presented last night was the construction by DOT of sidewalks. If you went down towards the Ryan House, and if you headed down towards south on 9W today, you can see the beginning of the work for new sidewalks that DOT is putting in. On the Village and Town website, there is a map showing you the progression of the sidewalks. We have not heard yet back about our TAP side path project, but I'm hoping that because DOT is putting in sidewalks, that the next step would be the side path, and fingers crossed that this will be hopefully make our grant application more successful. As far as
there are going to be traffic delays. During the construction, there are going to be traffic delays. Today was the first day that you kind of experienced that, but that project's going to last for a while. It's going to go from Seaman Park all the way to the church, so as they go through that, during construction hours, there's going to be quite a bit of traffic delay.
Yeah, you can see the base where they're digging out to put the sidewalks in. We also learned last night that on July 4th, which is going to be a big, huge celebration here to celebrate the 250th anniversary, there will be a race prior to the parade that people can sign up for. It's just what was a 5K? And it'll go along the parade route, and for people coming into the village, coming into the town of Saugerties, it's another special event basically for 4th of July. So just keep that in mind if you have travel plans to come in to see the parade, that there will be a 5K going on. I think it starts around 9 o'clock in the morning. The night of July 3rd, there will be a food truck festival at Cantine Field. There will be a band in the large pavilion, and there will also be craft vendors there to kick off the weekend. Also on the weekend, the Historical Society is going to be open on the 4th. The American Legion will have special events going on at the Legion Hall to showcase the museum, which is on the 2nd floor of Legion Post 72. There'll be red, white, and blue cupcakes and snow cones available free of charge on the lawn of the Kirsten House, and the house will be open also for viewing. So, also the big parade. I think you can anticipate more floats and more bands to celebrate the upcoming anniversary. There's also the Arts Commission. There's so much going on this Friday night at the across from M&T Bank. There's going to be an art collage, a mural presentation, and unfortunately it's the same time as the library program at 6 o'clock. So you can't say you have nothing to do on a Friday night in Saugerties. There's, go on the website. There's so many things happening in the village now that spring is here. And the artwork for the street art will be showcased, I believe it's going to be at Stone Pony in a couple of weeks. Just keep track on the website. You'll be able to get a sneak preview of all of the new dogs that'll be gracing our streets within the next month.
Thank you.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
It's right in front of me, how could I forget it? You all know what a splash pad is, you're probably sick of having me talk about it every meeting, but we are having a Brooks barbecue on Thursday night, May 21st, from 4 to 7 p.m. It's going to be at the large pavilion at Cantine Field, and if you prepay, it's a bargain, it's only $16, and if you pay at the door, it's $18. And you can get your tickets at Town and Country Liquors, at Sawyer Savings, Sawyer Motors, Village Hall, and Town Hall. And there's posters that will be all over. It's on the website. And if you are one of the members of the community, like my daughter who doesn't carry cash, oh Mom, everything is Venmo. You Venmo everything. That's the younger generation, that's how they do things. So the Venmo is right on the poster. So if you're a Venmo shopper, you can order your barbecue tickets. Last year we sold out. We're committed to sell 500 this year. And please support the splash pad, because I don't want to end up having to buy 10 chicken dinners and put them in the freezer if we can't make our quota. So if you're at the softball field, if you've got kids playing games, you know, whatever. It's great to be able to have your softball game, come over to the pavilion, eat in or take out, and it's for a good cause. We have not heard back on our grant application, but the committee met Monday night, and this is Food Truck Festival, the Brooks Barbecue, and we're also planning an art auction the end of August. Bob Circasano, who is a very entertaining auctioneer, is going to be doing an auction. We're going to have it at the barn at the Kirsten House, and it will be local artists who will be donating their artwork and pieces of art. Could be a piece of pottery. So if you know anyone, or if you're an artist in the audience and you'd like to donate and help us raise money for the splash pad, just give me a call.
Thank you. Sure, Vino.
First, a report for the animal shelter. The new building footings are in, as well as the foundation walls. The shelter's taken in a total of 21 intakes for March and 20 adoptions. For those of you who don't know, this time of the year is typically considered kitten season. 4 of the stray cats that they took in were all pregnant cats that basically produced 11 more kittens. So I commend the shelter staff, Ellie, Morgan, and Shallon. They've basically created a skillful group to help volunteer and foster those kittens and their mothers, to take them out of the shelter and lessen the burden of the shelter itself. The 2 fundraising events coming up is the Blue Jeans Ball on the 23rd at Fortune Valley Manor, and load them into the ambulance with only the push of a button. Longtime employee Brian Brighthop, also a volunteer member of the Glasgow Fire District, will be retiring in the near future here. Brian's been a pillar to the Diaz ambulance company and our emergency service community for many years. Ironically, I had the opportunity to work directly hand in hand with Brian yesterday with a very close to home major trauma incident. Brian will probably be one of the ones that will truly be missed, who's been part of what I consider probably the most extraordinary group of first responders around. So I hope Brian enjoys his retirement to its fullest, and commend him on a great career. There's a blood drive on the 18th from 1 to 7 at Cedar Grove Firehouse on 32, May 18th. I urge those who can donate, please donate. And the Garlic Festival Planning Committee is well underway. If you're looking to volunteer as a Kiwanis member and join a great effort, check out the Saugerties Kiwanis website and get engaged there. That's it.
Thank you. Bassler?
Is this on? I'm reporting on the meeting of the Housing Advisory Committee, which occurred on April 6th. The Housing Advisory Committee, if you're not familiar already, was created under Ulster County's Housing Smart Communities program, and it works to promote affordable housing that is tailored to the particular needs and context of our community. One of their ongoing projects is a community action campaign, which brings information in a variety of venues and opportunities about affordable housing solutions, brings that information to our community. That's relevant now because this coming Earth Week, which begins on Friday, will feature a tabling event in addition to a slew of great activities. It'll feature a tabling event on Sunday, April 26th at the corner of Main and Market, where along with nonprofit groups tabling, members of the Housing Advisory Committee will have a table there from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they look forward to sharing information about their work and hearing from any visitors to their table about your experiences in navigating the housing market in Saugerties and anything else you want to share or talk about regarding housing. You can visit the Earth Day Week website for the full lineup, which is saugertiesearthdayweek.org, and that's all from me.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to motions and resolutions. Mr. Avina?
Motion to approve the proclamation as on file pertaining to May as American Legion Poppy Month.
Second, discussion. This is an annual event for the American Legion. They always feature a very fine young lady, and if you can buy a poppy, it helps support the activities over there. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I move to approve the memorandum of agreement as on file between the town of Saugerties and the Communications Workers of America, CWA. Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Thornton. Second. Discussion. This was, all negotiations have their own story to them. This one was, I found very unique. Mrs. Thornton was my partner in negotiating. We think we came to a fair agreement with our staff and the union. This will extend for 4 years, so we bring relative peace and give us the opportunity during budget season to know what our labor costs are going to look like for the coming year. Further discussion? Mr. Barr?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
I vote yes. Oh, sorry, Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize a refund of $200 to Elizabeth Reese related to the denial of a zoning board of appeals interpretation fee pertaining to a proposed battery energy storage system that would be developed by Key Capture Energy and located at 7 Townsend Road, Saugerties, New York, on premises owned by, KMP Realty Holdings, LLC, SBL, number 18.1-4-5-100.
Second.
Discussion? The motion speaks for itself. Call for the vote. Mr. Barr?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution adopting local law number 3 of 2026 regarding amending chapter 190 of the municipal code sewer use law.
Second, discussion. We held a public hearing earlier this evening regarding this topic. The modification was requested by DEC's best practices. We came across a deficiency in preparation for grant application. Upon adoption of this, we will be reflecting what the DEC prescribes as best practice. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. I'd like to make a motion to declare as surplus and no longer of use the town of Saugerties 1/2017 Ford Explorer VIN number 1FM5 K8B 85H GB8 3315 as per the recommendation of the building department.
Second.
Discussion. We were able to replace this vehicle with F-150 Lightning, which is an EV vehicle. Our building department is now using that as part of their fleet to go to inspection sites. The funding for this vehicle came through our Climate Smart Task Force and a grant that they were able to secure, giving us $100,000 to do things that will reduce our carbon footprint. So this is a great use, and I think this vehicle is going to be very lasting. The EVs with the regenerative braking and stuff seem to last longer and need a little bit less maintenance. So we think this is going to be a great addition to the building department, and look forward to having other opportunities to expand our fleet this way. Any further discussion? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Motion to authorize the building inspector to dispose of and award to the highest bidder, 2017 Ford Explorer, VIN number 1FM5K85HGB83315 via Auctions International.
Second. Discussion. Mr. Barr?
I vote yes.
Mrs. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Avino?
Yes.
Ms. Bassler?
Yes.
I vote yes. Miss anything? No? Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Unfortunately, our community's been a little bit rocked by the passing of a number of our members. I'm going to share their names, and please join us in a brief moment of silence. Paul Formisano, whose family runs a bread distribution company here in Saugerties. Anna Jones, whose family has been deeply involved in Mount Vernon Fire District and many athletic organizations here at Cantine. To include their family used to own Town Hall, and when it was a shirt factory, they were long-standing members. I'm very untimely passing. Sarah Joan Grant, a relative of the Francella family. Many people know their involvement in the long tenure of Judge Francella. Jennifer Halfley. So she was the mother-in-law of a retired police officer, Jeremy Raskowski, and R.J. McCowan, who was deeply involved in the arts community here in the Saugerties, but also played an instrumental role in helping out at the court with some conflict resolution and some translation work. So please take a moment with us to share their memory. Okay, thank you. Our next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, May 6, 2026. Pre-board meeting at 6:30 p.m., town board meeting at 7 p.m. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for coming.